appearance was super important to him, and it was the appearance not just of himself, but of everybody and the whole big picture. And he wanted to portray this big picture and everything.
Hey guys, it's Mary from Sister Wives Daily. And girl, we've got a lot to discuss today. If you thought the tell all was dramatic, wait until we dive into what's really been happening behind the scenes. Trust me, you'll want to stick around until the end because this is not just tea, it's the full on truth. So, the tell all last week formally closed season 19's chapter. And yes, TLC has assured us that there is a season 20 coming, but the thing is, I really don't know that there is any remaining interest. So many of you have written expressing you're just finished, not necessarily with the show, but with where it's going. As long as Kody and Robyn are the center of attention, many fans struggle to continue watching. And candidly, I don't blame you. Sometimes I feel the same way. It really takes me back to what happened on Little People, Big World. That show went way beyond its natural conclusion point. They were obviously just going through the motions for the paycheck, attempting to cobble together enough material to last until the next season. The last time around, most of the original cast had left, and only Zach and Tori were still around. When they finally did exit, that was it. The show literally fell apart. Sister Wives is starting to feel the same. Nobody's technically left yet, but emotionally, the core relationships that made the show interesting are fractured or gone. The ratings are still there, the Browns are still filming, but it feels like we're watching something that's no longer about sister wives. How can it be when that dynamic doesn't really exist anymore? Something that Christine said this season really resonated with me. She said that Kody gradually became fixated on appearances, particularly once Robyn entered the scene. Suddenly, it wasn't all about living their truth as a plural family anymore. It became about being perfect, having a neat exterior, and keeping up some sort of unattainable standard. Christine noted that Kody was particularly concerned with Robyn being pretty, dressing up, and ensuring her children were dressed accordingly. It placed this unspoken expectation on everyone else to keep pace with the level of perfection she had set for herself. The irony? When the show began, Kody wasn't living high on the hog at all. Yes, he did have a little flash, such as that convertible Lexus he drove, but the rest of the family was getting by in clunkers. That contrast should have been a warning sign. Kody liked to look good, no matter if everyone else was hurting. And when Robyn arrived, things changed fast. Kody used to claim he liked curvier women, but his actions said otherwise. He was clearly smitten with Robyn's model-esque appearance. I've even heard from someone who worked with the family during their first People magazine photo shoot. This stylist told me Robyn had her hair done professionally, only to redo it herself afterward because it wasn't exactly how Kody wanted it. As Robyn was dressing and was getting all dressed up, the stylist mentioned that Kody couldn't help but fawn. He was commenting like, "That's my supermodel wife," and even had her twirl around so he could gawk at her. He was boisterous about it too, not in everyone's face, but boisterous enough that they all heard it. Try to imagine how hurtful that must have been. The stylist's takeaway? Kody presented as intensely narcissistic. The manner in which he zeroed in on Robyn's physical appearance and dismissed the way that pedestal affected everyone else was just awkward. It was like, in his head, that Robyn's beauty elevated her, and the other wives were just gonna have to sit back and take in that lesson in silence. So here we are. A show that was once based on unity, sisterhood, and shared religion has become something entirely different. It is as if we are seeing a highlight of Kody's ego and Robyn's persona, with everyone else taking a back seat. What are your thoughts? Is there still something to be salvaged on Sister Wives? Or is everything that needs to be said already said on the show? Leave your opinions in the comments. I want to hear it all. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell because we're keeping a close eye on everything leading up to season 20. There's more to come, and you won't want to miss it. And here's where this gets really disturbing, besties. After Robyn came into the family, it actually felt like the other wives were just kind of pushed aside, like they didn't exist anymore. So, when Christine recently talked about how Kody got completely caught up in all about appearances, it really didn't shock me one bit. Let's turn the clock back a bit. Soon after Robyn became a part of the show permanently, the show just changed gears and turned its attention to the weight loss of the wives. Remember this? Whole episodes were devoted to Janelle and the others stepping on the scale, undergoing weigh-ins, and having personal trainers talking down about their physiques. But did we ever catch Kody in one of those mortifying weight loss episodes? Of course not. Janelle specifically had to endure highly publicized weigh-ins, her actual weight shown on national TV, and then have trainers essentially tell her how unwell or over her weight she was. And sure, too much weight can have health consequences, but let's keep things in perspective. Personal trainers aren't doctors. Watching that play out was humiliating. Did she really want to do that? Did she agree to making her body the narrative? Or was it simply another means by which Kody could indirectly embarrass his wives in the name of helping? At the same time, Robyn happened to appear frequently in those very same shows, and she just happened to be the lightest. She would issue these remarks such as, "It's not easy being skinny," or even announce things like, "Kody doesn't even like skinny girls. He likes curvy women." Really? That's not how it seemed. Because the message we were all receiving was loud and clear. Robyn was the benchmark, and everyone else wasn't measuring up. To add insult to injury, Janelle even got recruited to blog about weight loss on TLC, something that was more a PR gig than a real journey. And even if Janelle was emotionally invested in her own health, absolutely, it seemed like Kody was promoting a narrative, one that perfectly served his increasing fixation with Robyn and her looks. It became impossible to ignore. As the years went by and the wives' bodies shifted, and as they bore children after child, Kody's interest in them practically waned. He had been with these women for decades. Couldn't he have loved them for themselves, for who they were, no matter their size of 4 or 14? Love has nothing to do with clothing sizes. Christine herself made a similar statement at the beginning of the series, that love has to be from the heart, not from the mirror. So when Christine finally told us that Kody always liked the polished picture of Robyn and her children better than anyone else, it just struck home. She admitted it drained her, made her feel less of herself, made her feel invisible. And you know what? That's devastating. Nobody deserves to feel they're less than in their own marriage. And just when you imagine Kody could possibly make it any worse, he says in their book that he was repulsed by Christine the first time he met her. Why? Because she was having nachos, and she was, in his words, chubby. Let that marinate in your mind. He literally said it put the brakes on what he was feeling for her, and he didn't know if he even wanted to marry her because of that one incident. Now, he's sitting on a tell-all couch years later, saying this out loud, next to Janelle, who had also gained weight after having 6 kids. Imagine how that must have felt for her. Hearing your husband talk about being grossed out by another wife's body, knowing you've been judged for your own, too. That kind of comment doesn't just sting, it scars. Year by year, it became increasingly clear Kody just wasn't interested in the other wives anymore. Regardless of what he professed about loving curvy women, his actions spoke louder. His eyes and his heart were reserved only for Robyn, and he substantiated that himself. During a 2023 podcast interview, Kody actually stated that encountering Robyn was akin to finding the trophy. He referred to her as the pinnacle of success. He outright referred to her as his diesel jeans model. It had nothing to do with love or partnership. It was what she appeared as. Her looks. That's what he needed. That's what he appreciated. Now look, I'm not here to pull Robyn down. Whether you find her beautiful or not is entirely your prerogative. Personally, I find all of the wives beautiful in their own way. But it's not right or healthy of Kody to place one woman on a pedestal and make the others feel inferior in contrast. And yet, that's precisely what he's done. So, what do you guys think? Has Kody's fixation on looks and favoritism totally destroyed the vibe of the show? Is there even a point to fixing what's been done? Leave your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you're looking for more blunt deconstructions like this one. We've still got more where that came from as we creep closer to season 20, and you better believe we'll be paying attention. But here's the thing, it wasn't only his wives that Kody idealized. It turns out that he did it with his kids, too. And how did he do it? Honestly, it's very disturbing. In a recent Patreon chat, Tony had something to say that obviously made Mykelti uncomfortable. But oh, so painfully true. He explained that for as long as he could remember, when it came to Christine's children, Kody privileged Aspen over the others. And why? Not because of how nice a person she was, not because she was smart, not because she had empathy, but because of the way she looked. Aspen dressed up, wore makeup, did her hair, and presented the image Kody preferred. And because of this, Tony said she was Kody's favorite. That statement in itself is disturbing, but it's not the only time Kody's favoritism seemed directly tied to physical appearance. Think about Isabel. Many fans noticed how resistant Kody was to her getting surgery for her scoliosis, something she desperately needed. Why? Well, there's been speculation that he didn't want her to get a scar. That a scar, something that could impact her appearance, was reason enough to hold her back from a life-improving surgery, as if that sole flaw would somehow taint her perfection. It's difficult not to recognize a pattern. Isabel, much like Aspen, is unquestionably gorgeous, tall, blonde, elegant, and it just appears as if Kody has always been drawn to his daughters, who meet a very strict beauty ideal, tall, slim, traditionally pretty. Tony indicated that Aspen was the prettiest and always seemed the most put together, and that is why she won out as favorite. Meanwhile, Mykelti confessed that she never felt like she was the favorite when growing up. The only time that she felt a little appreciated by him was in a very awkward and transitory scenario. After Christine had left the household, Mykelti had been the go-between. She was suddenly the messenger, assisting in coordinating communication and visitation between Kody, Christine, Robyn, and Truly. But when that role was done, so was the attention. It's really just creepy, and I don't say that lightly. It's creepy that a father would have preference among his children based on their appearance, that he would construct relationships around looks rather than personality, niceness, or emotional connection. Christine summed it up so well in the tell-all. All of it really ended up being about exterior things, how you appeared on the outside, rather than who you were as a person on the inside. And if that's the way Kody was with his wives, it was sure to translate into his children. If the women were going to compete to look like Robyn, it would not be surprising that the daughters began to feel that pressure too. But this isn't merely toxic, it's dangerous. When you begin comparing your kids on physical appearance, you're not merely playing favorites. You're building the kind of climate that results in extreme insecurity, low self-esteem, and even severe mental health problems. We're talking anxiety, depression, and even eating disorders. Kids who feel unwanted or invisible because they don't fit a parent's physical ideal suffer from that pain for life. And isn't it interesting? Pretty much every time we catch a glimpse of Aurora and Brianna on camera, Robyn's daughters, they look like $1,000,000. Their hair is always curled, makeup is applied, they're dressed to the nines. They're tall, skinny, gorgeous, and perpetually presented in the most flattering light. It's like Kody was attempting to create a picture-perfect family with them while discarding the rest. And then, for good measure, he instigates an implicit competition among his daughters. Who is the prettiest, the most groomed, the most resembling Robyn, that's not parenting, that's objectification. Kody, this is not merely terrible behavior, it's creepy, it's emotionally abusive, it's manipulative, and it's flown under the radar for far too long. So, while Mike Kelty might have felt uncomfortable with Tony's comment, I'm actually glad he said it, because it finally pulled the curtain back on what so many of us have sensed for years. That Kody's views on women, including his own daughters, are incredibly shallow and harmful. And the ironical twist of fate? For someone so fixated on Robyn's appearance, it's not her physical look that people dislike, it's her personality. Robyn's controlling, manipulative nature, her nonstop victimhood, and her narcissism. That's what audiences have had enough of. Kody's done so much over the years, prioritizing beauty over loyalty, style over substance, and image over integrity, that he's forgotten the women and children who genuinely cared for him and the family. And that's what makes this tale so tragic. Not only that he had a favorite wife or child, but that those preferences were based on something as shallow as looks, when the ones who had the most heart, dedication, and true love on their part were left to question why they weren't enough. Ultimately, what it comes down to is this: Kody discarded decades of relationships, trust, and loyalty. For what? A woman who was 11 years his junior, and in his opinion, thin and traditionally beautiful. That was the clincher. Not connection, not shared history, just looks. He now admits he'd never engage in polygamy a second time. But come on, if he could build a harem of Robyn duplicates, women who resembled her, behaved exactly like her, and fit the same small paradigm, I truly believe he'd do it in an instant. That's my take, though the trend is difficult to avoid. So I'd love for you to weigh in. What do you make of this sickening trend of behavior? Of Kody essentially objectifying his daughters and assessing his love for them in terms of their appearance? Do you believe Tony's assertion that Aspen was the favorite because she was the most attractive reveals a truth we've all been subtly intuited about for years? And what does it tell us about a father who establishes a pecking order among his own offspring, not by love or virtue, but by cosmetic attractiveness? Let's discuss it in the comments, because this is no longer just one messed up family anymore. These actions ring a much larger theme about control, beauty standards, and emotional harm in all families. Also, can you get over Kody's lifelong preoccupation with appearances? Is it insecurity, narcissism, misogyny, all of the above? Leave your answer in the comments below. I read all of them, and I love hearing your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this analysis, you found it enlightening, or just somewhat affirming, please hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell so you don't miss a deep dive like this. Thanks for coming. I love you so much. Bye for now, besties.